fresh episode of our regular weekly V News English and Stratia production program, The Weekend. I am Muhammad Ali.
I am Murtaza Solangi.
Mr. Solangi, the world is witnessing a lot of significant events. We heard that Mr. Trump has sent his national security advisor packing, and a lot of developments are taking place in the Middle East as well. But the most significant event, which is drawing international concern, is the deepening and escalating crisis between two nuclear-armed neighbors of South Asia, India and Pakistan. And it seems that the whole world is expressing concern about it and is attempting to diffuse this rapidly escalating dangerous crisis. What is happening in the diplomatic domain? And then we can discuss what's going on in other domains as
well. As we record this episode, it is day 10 since this Pahalgam terrorist attack happened. And in the diplomatic domain, India has tried everything and approached every country to get the support to attack and hurt Pakistan, but has failed so far. Every country, including Pakistan, expressed sympathy with the terror victims, but India has tried to spin that sympathy as a license to attack Pakistan. However, the military and diplomatic preparedness and response of Pakistan has so far restrained India from attacking in last 10 days.
I want to interrupt you to expand on this very important point. You believe it's a combination of military preparedness and diplomatic outreach which has restrained India so far?
Yes, I do understand that. The miserable failure of Indian state under Modi to get global support for attack against Pakistan, Pakistan's diplomatic response, and Pakistan's quick narrative building, including presenting evidence actually implicating India of cross-border terrorism inside Pakistan, has made it very difficult for Indian government to go gung-ho and go attack Pakistan willy-nilly. That does not mean that India will not attack Pakistan. We should never be complacent about it. But that means India has to think 100 times before attacking Pakistan, and their task has become difficult by the day because they have not been able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt to their own people, to the people of the region, to the people of Pakistan, and the world at large, that Pakistan is involved in this carnage.
Let me ask you, because you made some very important comments regarding their stance and their narrative. For the benefit of our viewers, in your view, you've been a former information minister. What is the stance? What is the narrative of India on this particular crisis? And why do you think the world is not buying it?
I think the narrative of India and why the world has not taken this bet can be easily explained by a couple of quotes published in New York Times. When some of the members of the diplomatic community from around the globe who were asked to attend briefing by the Indian establishment, they told New York Times that so far their only ground of narrative is that since Pakistan has done it before, so it might have done this one too, without giving them any evidence. So they reached a conclusion that either India is manufacturing an evidence to implicate Pakistan, or they are not bothered about it, since the world is distracted in many global hotspots like Gaza and Ukraine, and Trump being transactional and inward looking, they think it's a good opportunity to attack Pakistan. But because of the diplomatic, security, and media response of Pakistan, it has become difficult for India to act like a cowboy in the Hollywood movies. So they have not been able to do that.
I think that's a very important point that you are basically arguing that India overestimated its clout and influence and underestimated Pakistan's timely narrative building and diplomacy to warn the world that not only the Indian narrative lacks credibility and evidence, but in case of any unilateral military aggression of any form or scale against Pakistan, the risk of escalation, the onus and responsibility of regional security and its global implication will solely and squarely lie with India. And I think in that context, the statement by US Vice President is significant, that which follows the telephonic conversation from Washington with the US Secretary of State, with both Islamabad and Delhi, that India must ensure that it does not transform into a regional conflict. So this urge for restraint is perhaps an important message from Washington to New Delhi, which I don't think, despite being a key US ally in the Indo-Pacific strategy, New Delhi and Modi administration cannot overlook or ignore.
Deep down, Indian establishment is very disappointed with the global diplomatic response. While you have seen important global players, including China, Turkey, and some other countries, coming out clearly in support of Pakistan's stance for proper investigation and Pakistan's readiness to cooperate in investigation, this has somehow taken the wind out of the diplomatic sails of India. So deep down, there is disappointment, and the policies of Modi government after this attack inside India has actually weakened Indian position when they went gung-ho against 200 million Muslims of India, including Bangladeshis, Rohingyas, and attacking Kashmiris across India. So while Pakistan has closed its ranks and there is a greater sense of unity in Pakistan, just the opposite is true what's happening in India today.
I think it's a very important point that you made, Mr. Solangi, because it seems that India has a diplomatic disappointment because it overestimated its clout and influence and took the Western support for granted. And did not receive as much diplomatic support as it expected, which would allow it the diplomatic space to carry out a military action against Pakistan. But let me ask you about the diplomatic, beyond diplomacy, the political dynamics of this crisis, both in Pakistan and India. How do you compare the political environment of Pakistan with that of India in the wake of this crisis?
In Pakistan, most political parties, including PTI, the mainstream leadership, including incarcerated Imran Khan, have supported the stance of the state of Pakistan. So if anybody was banking on the disunity caused by PTI, have faced a humble pie and are disappointed, leaving a bunch of YouTubers who have escaped Pakistan and are basically living on the dollars of their YouTube propaganda. Most Pakistanis are united, and most Pakistanis are showing grace and dignity in the face of hostile India. The opposite is true in India, where the chief minister of occupied Kashmir, who is less than a glorified mayor of a town with no authority, where even internal security is left to the lieutenant governor who represents the center. The Kashmiris are badly hurt. Despite their condemnation of the terror attack, they have not spared, neither in occupied Kashmir nor across India. And, Indian Muslims, 200 million, they are seen as agents of Pakistan, and there have been quite a few negative and harassing actions against them. So I think on that front too, Pakistan has come out quite dignified.
Indeed, I think it seems that this is the eighth crisis in the last 38 years that has a common toolkit in terms of Indian habit of initiating unprovoked unilateral crisis in the nuclearized South Asian environment. And it is always Pakistan which has to manage such crises with credibility, with responsibility, with tact, with wisdom, in a manner that India is forced to de-escalate, and the strategic stability is preserved in South Asia despite Indian provocations. And on the diplomatic aspect, I think it is also interesting that Pakistan's timely call for supporting an international neutral investigation has gathered international support from several countries, particularly from China, whose foreign office particularly mentioned and endorsed this, and Pakistan's representative in New York in United Nations also secured active and unanimous support from the OIC contact group in the United Nations, which supported Pakistan's stance. So this has really bolstered Pakistan's diplomatic position and also created space for Pakistan's military to respond in kind if Pakistan, is faced with the possibility of Indian aggression, and placed Islamabad on a moral, legal, and diplomatic high ground. But let's quickly, in the last part of our program today, discuss the situation where it perhaps matters the most, which is the military domain. Let's briefly compare the dynamics, the contrasting dynamics of Indian military and Pakistan. And my initial thought is that the civil military relations, which is the favorite topic of Indian and Western experts in case of Pakistan, is witnessing a remarkable turnaround. In this particular crisis, despite 2-3 years long political instability, Pakistani civil and military leadership seem to be on the same page. They have timely met at the National Security Committee, issued a very comprehensive, well worded, well considered statement. And you noticed yesterday, Pakistan's army chief was leading from the front and witnessed the military exercises of the Mangla Strike Corps. And that is an important signal because, among the 9 corps, Mangla and Multan are the 2 strike corps. So that is a signal to India that Pakistan's offensive formations are battle ready in case we are provoked in attack. Secondly, earlier, Pakistan's naval chief visited air headquarters, and both naval and air chiefs reviewed the operational readiness both of Pakistan Navy and Pakistan Air Force. And in contrast, there are questions being raised, and there are important key high-ranking military and intelligence officers of India, which are either being sent home or being transferred from key appointments. This indicates that some of the most key intelligence and military commanders of India perhaps do not enjoy the confidence of their political leadership, or are falling short of or reluctant to meet the expectations, the ambitious expectations of Mr. Modi, because what he charged the Indian military to do seems unrealistic and dangerous. The statement which was issued from the Indian Prime Minister office was that the Indian Prime Minister has approved and allowed the military to take an action which it considers suitable at a level, target, timing of its choice, as long as it makes Mr. Modi and India looks good. Now, this is a very ridiculous targeting policy being given by the political leadership from towards its military leadership. And I feel sorry for the Indian military leadership that they have such ambiguous and ambitious orders from their political leadership, because they know very well the capability, the readiness of Pakistan. And I think Pakistan is ready in all land, air, and sea domains, as well as our strategic forces are also on high alert to deter and, if need be, defeat and destroy any aggressor. But I'd like your thoughts on it as well.
I don't think we should draw down our guards. And I'm sure the people who are entrusted with the responsibility of national security won't do it. We have capable and professional military. So they would analyze the possibilities of a broad spectrum of offenses that can be launched against Pakistan. But having said that, compare this with the previous 2019 attack after Pulwama, when they sent their Air Force to kill a couple of crows in Balakot. If you remember, Mr. Modi on camera after the incident saying that, oh, they told me that the weather was cloudy So he thought that we could actually defeat Pakistani radars. I mean, kind of uh, bullshit. Pardon my French. So if he was, our Indian leadership was so hands-on, they would have told Indian military to do this or that. Instead, they outsourced their decision making according to the press release. So that shows, you know, the lack of options, and that's pretty much the situation. That doesn't mean that India would not try to hurt Pakistan, especially in the domain of proxy wars and terrorism. Those options, and also to economically hurt Pakistan at the diplomatic level, the efforts to isolate Pakistan. These possibilities are very much there, but I think that Indian state is in a state of disarray because of their premature jingoistic media frenzy, wars fought through their TV studios.
Indeed, and as a last thought, I'll just add 2 points to it. I think an important development during this crisis, which has taken place, is the appointment of Pakistan's DGISI General Asim Malik being given the additional charge of National Security Advisor. My thoughts are that this would perhaps enable him to better coordinate between civil, military, and different institutions for timely, accurate, and comprehensive decision making, which will enable superior, timely strategic decision making and crisis management. And I think this just about brings us to the end of today's program. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to share your thoughts and feedback on this program. Thank you so much.